podcasting from Woodstock, Georgia. Welcome to Soul Solutions, a show where we overcome our fears and our limiting beliefs. I'm your host, author, and certified life coach, Terry Kozlowski. Episode 25, How to Assess Our Habits for Growth. Habits are the way we consciously go about our day. Some behaviors are good for us, and some aren't. But do we evaluate them periodically to see if we should alter the behaviors for our personal growth? Many times we look at them only if there is a health concern. But we should all take stock as to whether our habits are serving us or are they keeping us from growing and expanding our souls. Our habits have tremendous power in our daily lives, particularly when we stay on autopilot mode. We can know we need to change, we have the right intentions, but picking an alternative path to reach our goal proves more challenging than we thought. Becoming aware of those things we don't realize we do out of routine takes effort on our part. Sometimes it takes another to point out what we're doing may be more harmful than good. We all develop coping mechanisms to deal with things that may have worked at one point in our lives, but today no longer serve us. But with awareness comes the opportunity for change and growth. It's not just about breaking habits that no longer help us, but also about adding habits that will nurture us. By tracking our daily activities and routines, we can assess our behaviors to determine their usefulness. If they are no longer benefiting us, we can then replace them with other practices that do. Habits on our brain. Our brains like patterns. It also has many essential things to keep track of, like breathing and constricting the heart muscle so blood can be pumped throughout our bodies. So the mundane activities we do every day become habits. The automatic pilot setting our brains use is for our daily routines. Mammals are creatures of habit because it's an efficient way to go through the day. These behaviors are initiated by a cue and are habitually based on time of day, location, or another person. These signals cause us to respond in a specific pattern each time we are in the same situation. If there isn't an adverse result, the brain learns that we need the conduct and it forms a habit over time. For instance, the alarm goes off and we stumble to the bathroom is our cue. Our behavior is to take a shower. The positive result is we feel refreshed and awake. And as we repeat these actions each day, we will perform them without thinking about the actions we are taking. It forms a habit. Now, if the return provides us with a potent reward, the habit is harder to break. For example, when we eat chocolate, neurotransmitters release dopamine and gives us a sensation of pleasure. Our brain likes dopamine. It's the critical chemical messenger that helps us form many of our habits. So when our brain knows it will feel good, it drives us to repeat the activity and becomes the default action to take. Tracking our daily habits. The best way to become aware of our routine is to write it down. To understand these patterns, we need to track our daily behaviors for one full week. Look at the rituals we repeat. Write down the activities based on the time of day, our morning routine, lunch activities, after work schedule, and bedtime routine. Now let's examine each one of these habits. Are they serving a purpose? Do they cause us to stay grounded? Or do they cause us stress? If we need to do them, can we put them at a different time so it doesn't sap our energy? Can what we do each day be improved upon? Are there habits we connect that may be better for us to split up? By understanding our daily routines, we can learn to maintain our energy levels, which protect us from getting overly tired during the day. Once we have assessed our behaviors and determined which ones no longer serve us, we can look at ways to replace them with practices that would be better. We can also look at adding additional ones to improve our lives. Retraining our brain. Many of us make lists each day, but that doesn't mean we accomplish all we set out to do. We first need to believe that we can make the changes we desire. Yes, we need to believe in ourselves. But research has shown that we can rewire our brains through a process known as neuroplasticity. The way we replace a bad behavior with a better one, once we are aware, is to interrupt ourselves and replace the practice with one that is healthier for us. We need to look at the cues that trigger the habit. By identifying them, it will help us understand how to change the pattern of behavior. When we recognize a prompt, we need to disrupt the routine. The best way to break a habit is to replace it with a new conduct. This new practice interferes with the old one and prevents the brain from staying in autopilot mode. Also, keep this new behavior as simple as possible. We want our brains to have an easy transition so it becomes our new autopilot mode. Keep in mind the long-term goal of the new habit we want to integrate into our lives. This vision helps us to stay vested in the alteration we are working towards, a better lifestyle. Be persistent. Although we may struggle the first few times, we work on changing a habit, but it becomes second nature as we persist. Replacing habits with better ones. Most of us want to be healthier than we are. To achieve big goals, we need to make small changes. For example, this year I want to drink lemon water when I get up in the morning. But my routine doesn't get me to the kitchen until all I want is my morning tea, Earl Grey, hot. So for me to have success at this new habit takes planning. Each evening I prep the lemon water and place it in the bathroom. When I see it, I do drink it. But if I don't prepare the night before, it doesn't happen at all. With each minor success I have, the easier it becomes to keep the extra practice in place. Another way to increase our success is to write down our plan of action. So in my planner, I have an area to write out new habits I want to integrate into my daily life. I also put sticky notes in places to help remind me of the practices I want to cultivate. With the action plan and the reminders, adding the new behavior will be successful because I am doing all I can to align my routine with my goals. Choosing new habits. When we're thinking about how we can become a better person, choosing new habits can help us on our journey. Let's look at simple ways we can adapt our behaviors to those that serve us better. To eat healthier comes down to preparation. Several years ago, I took gluten out of my diet because it caused inflammation in my body. So I began looking at labels, and if it had wheat in it, I didn't buy it. I also removed all the other foods already in my kitchen that contained wheat. This elimination meant that there are no temptations in the house that would cause me to eat gluten I was trying to avoid. A little prep time with meal planning, not bringing tempting foods into our homes, and cleaning out our pantries make eating healthier a bit more manageable. Adding movement into our routines is vital for overall health. I have a very sedentary job and have never been a sports enthusiast. To add movement into my life, I brought the elliptical out of the basement and put it somewhere I'd be more likely to use it. Then I created a playlist to listen to while exercising. I started with 5 minutes a day, then increased it by 5 minutes each week. As long as this activity is fun and elevates our heart rate, it's exercise. So find something you enjoy doing. To help keep a positive attitude, I've limited mass media exposure. I stay informed, but I limit how much negative news I see. I've cleansed my social media, so I only see positive and uplifting posts. I only share those things that are beneficial to others and uplifting to others. I don't shame anyone for their beliefs or feel for reactions to other people's posts. Increasing our enthusiasm for change. So we have the desire to alter our behavior and form better habits. We've set our intention, we have a plan of action, but we're still struggling with implementing the change we desire. What can we do to help ourselves? Let's tap into our emotions. Let's look for inner inspiration to propel us forward towards implementing the new habit. Many times our emotional responses help us in the learning process. Each time we are successful in our minor change, encourage ourselves through our self-talk, allowing ourselves to pause and feel the happiness we have in doing the behavior we desire. The positive emotion we feel helps us retrain our brain to accept this feeling as the reward for the new habit. Our enthusiasm for the new practice to take hold allows us to overcome any frustrations and struggles we may have through the replacement process. The more we repeat this procedure, the more permanent it becomes. Visualize our success. Talk about it with others. Track our improvement in our journals. Realize that stress may cause a reversion back to an old habit. If it does, don't blame or shame. Take responsibility for what occurred, forgive ourselves, and try to determine what caused the misstep. Then move forward with renewed commitment towards the goal. Reward our success so we stay inspired. A little treat that's in keeping with your overall goals helps us maintain the behavior and rewards the brain for its rewiring accomplishment. Moving forward with better habits. Habits can be helpful or hurtful to our well-being. Research from Duke University cites habits, not conscious thinking, that determines over 40% of our behaviors. So there is an enormous potential for us to alter our lives by eliminating habits that may no longer serve us. So there's no better time than the present to evaluate our current habits. As we determine which ones need to be altered, we can implement a plan of action to succeed. With each small success, we will develop the skills we need to improve all areas of our lives by changing our routines. Good daily habits, those that elevate our mood, energy, and health, put our success on autopilot because the brain wants routine. These good practices have a cumulative effect on our lives as they empower us to control our destiny, our health, and our happiness. Do you need support to help you assess your habits and cultivate better ones? Do you want a strategy to help you overcome the ego's limiting beliefs and live a successful life? If so, please reach out to me at terrykozlowski.com and we can put together an action plan for you to create the life you desire.
Thanks for listening to Soul Solutions with Terry Kozlowski. If you'd like the show and want to learn more, check out terrykozlowski.com where you can find the links to everything we talked about in this episode. Please subscribe to the show so you'll never miss an episode as we overcome our fears and our limiting beliefs.